And the kids and I will never going to be safe in England, unless we have protection. And you've got to get the protection from the family. And if you don't, I mean, I just can't allow us to go, because you just never know what's going to happen. History's going to repeat itself, and I'm going to be wiped out. And she has been implying, I am told, in this game, that the royal family wiped out Diana. Which means
Wow.
Prince Philip wiped out Diana.
So she's adding to that paranoia that Harry has.
She's doing a Martin Bashir.
What's really going on with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry after that appalling outing in New York City, where they appeared to show to the world their discomfort with each other and hatred of each other? Well, Lady Colin Campbell has a theory on this, and all may not be as it seems. She posted on X, "I am smelling a big rat." The message has been relayed by the Sussex campus so pointed that they lead me to question whether Harry and Meghan aren't on a massive duper's delight trip. I get why most of the media and many of the public might be taking the bait. The Harrys and Meghans of this world can be very convincing, especially when they have something to gain from the red herrings they're dropping everywhere, as they set the traps with which to bait others. But having spent the first 50 years of my life in the cauldron, that is a devious, manipulative, narcissist favoured device for cooking up brews that are intended to satisfy that said narcissist's needs without care or regard for the consequences to those who consume the brew, for me the warning bells are ringing loudly and clearly. Can anyone with actual knowledge of how dark triads function seriously believe that a couple who are so practiced in the art of media manipulation would be revealing serious divisions between themselves unless it was in their worldly interest to do so? I may be wrong. Maybe they are about to divorce. Maybe pigs are about to fly. And maybe Meghan and Harry aren't setting up everyone for yet another of their wheezes. Time will tell. And Lady Colin Campbell joins me now. Lady C, what do you think is really going on then? Because it was interesting to note that for the first time, the Daily Mail, which you know has been so conscious of sort of getting into the weeds on what's really going on with Harry and Meghan because of this court case, actually reported over the past week via Alison Boshoff that things are really bad in the marriage. I mean, she wrote really, really bad at times. But you think they were playing a bit of a game in New York City, which, by the way, does seem to be backed up by the picture that Meghan included of Prince Harry within her Instagram reel, where Milano posted, "This traitor is 100% behind his cretinous wife. Look at his smile, his ease, my conscience' clear attitude. Don't feel sorry for this piece of shit. He supports her insane Paris at night Instapost, her sociopathic obsession with the Princess of Wales. He is in on it all." So, Lady C, what's really going on here?
Well, I mean, I sort of am going off my own experience of observing a narcissistic couple that played similar games. I'm speaking about my parents, really, my mother. And when there is dissonance, and if you don't know the games that go on, and also how the game can change momentarily. So 1 minute they're nice, the next they're nasty, literally, and then 5 minutes later, it's as if nothing ever happened. It's the constant change of mood. But I tell you what I think is going on personally. And this is just my hunch. I know that the marriage is very up and down and rocky, and a man in a situation like that, who is a much weaker man and much less intelligent, but even if he's more intelligent, because my father was more intelligent than my mother, a matter of character, the woman, if she's the more dominating partner in the marriage, will be able to set the agenda and the man is then using his intelligence against himself sometimes. But they they were in total accord with each other, and I think they are basically in total accord with each other on one level. So so she went to Paris. They knew Paris was going to cause uh, comment. Meghan, I don't think she necessarily said to him, I'm going to ape being your mother. And I don't think she'd have said that to him, but she did it. And he has come out defending her, saying that, oh, it's not Meghan who's been aping my mother's last trip. It's the press who have been accusing her of aping my mother's last trip. In much the same way that, remember, was it Tom Bradby? Yes, it was. Or he said, "Oh no, no, no." When Tom Bradby asked him about the racist comments, "Oh, we never made racist comments. It's the press that said about made the link with us saying that the royal family was racist." Notwithstanding the fact that not only did they say it in the Oprah show, but they actually even received an award from Kerry Kennedy for fighting institutional racism within the royal family. He is wildly inconsistent in terms of but he in terms of actually accepting responsibility for anything they say and do. But I don't think that they plotted that. I think that was Meghan's attempt because I think Meghan, when she stepped out of the Balenciaga show, I think she hoped and maybe even expected the paparazzi to follow her, and nobody followed her. And I think this would have been a crushing moment for her, on top of the other crushing moments that there had been at the show. The first was the embarrassing continental kiss that she knew she didn't pull off properly, and she knew the press was going to capture that and comment on it. Then she was placed not in the central aisle in the front row, but in a side aisle in the front row. So that again is, oh dear, I'm B-list, I'm not A-list. And and when people say that Anna Wintour was placed there as well, oh, people don't understand when you are organizing an event like that. If you're going to get rid of a troublesome person and do it in such a way that you are actually putting them down without being subject to the consequences thereafter, what you do is you put someone eminent nearby so that if anybody says, you see, it was a deliberate put down, there is plausible deniability. Do you see what I'm saying where that's concerned? Well, it helps Stan to know how these things really work. I mean, I've been doing events for over 50 years now. And for instance, I don't know if you've noticed, at my ball, my table is never the most important table. It's never number one. And many of the very important people are not in the most prominent positions. People who would be offended are in the most prominent positions. That's how things are done if you're going to be civilized and sophisticated. And believe me, all those fashion houses are super sophisticated and very civilized. So anyway, she then walks out at the end of the show and expects that the paparazzi are going to follow her. And nobody does. So she has to post something that she knows will grab attention. And most likely in her deluded mind, she even hoped that they would then embark upon a chase with her, which of course nobody did. so so I think though that they are basically in on all of it together. I think they went when they the New York trip. Yeah, they do have terrible rows, I'm told, and which again goes along with the narcissistic relationship, and because the other person is literally being consumed and whether they are aware of it or not, on a psychic level, they are literally being consumed. And they have to be on some atavistic level aware of it. So there's always going to be rockiness in the marriage. But I think what she did, and I used to see my mother do it, before we went out to something, she would whip herself up into frenzy. So she was ready to perform, and she would do it by arguing with my father or with one of us. And so we would arrive at the event, a basket case, but she was, I've arrived. And I think Meghan same thing. And she understood that by doing it, she wasn't only going to rattle Harry, and which she succeeded in doing, but she was going to get a lot of press attention. Because also, let's remember, Meghan is on a massive diversion campaign. First of all, from the failure of Was Never, and with spewing Meghan as opposed to love, uh, and all and she knows that she is struggling where all of that is concerned, and she's trying to divert attention away as well from the constant public demands to clarify the children's situation, because I am reliably informed that the most commented upon subject correspondence wise to the palace is the question of those two children's identity. And she will be aware of that. I'm sure you are aware of it. And so, and every time that is coming to the boil, they come up with something, and then it's forgotten till the next time. But I think that's one of the underlying motivations. And I think the other is she's just a fame junkie. She loves the attention. Even without this surrogacy business, she would still be doing much, if not all of this. She would simply have different motives for doing it, but she would still be doing it. And I think those other different motives kick in generally as well. What do you think?
Well, I think one of the most interesting things for me this week was actually the briefing to page 6 in the New York Post. And I know this is a journalist, she's the editor at large of the New York Post, and she's a British journalist, and she has direct contact with Team Sussex. And they briefed, yeah, there it is. Humanitarians of the year, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle ready to strategize a peace deal with the royals. And so this is all coming directly from Meghan, right? And I found it fascinating because there is this acknowledgement that she has to change tack. And Sarah Nathan reported insiders told Page 6 that behind the scenes, Markle, who has never shied away from going into detail about how her husband's relatives allegedly mistreated her, has actually been supporting Harry's recent bid to reconcile with his family, especially his father. They need the royal family, said a source, adding Meghan is aware of that. The couple is well aware of the cachet their royal titles afford them. Their stationery and that of their children has HRH emblazoned on it. Meghan knows that Harry won't be returning to royal duties, but on a human personal level, she wants for him to be able to get on good terms with his father, added the source. Harry is said to have been relieved to find his father doing well after not having seen him in person for 19 months, wearing a big smile afterwards as he told reporters Charles was great, and the wayward prince has seemed lighter and happier since. But one insider made it clear that Markle is not holding Harry back from his family and that she encouraged him to see the king while he was in London. The insider added that the couple both very much want Charles to spend time with his grandchildren and that Harry is believed to have given his father a photo of Archie and Lilibet during their private tea together at Clarence House. And so, to me, that reporting, Lady C, and as I say, this has been briefed directly from Team Sussex, was such a 180 for Meghan Markle. And of course, she's completely shameless in how she's done that. But it's because there is deep down this acknowledgement, holy crap, none of this has worked, so we are going to have to massively change strategy. And she's being, I mean, I obviously think it's dastardly, but one could argue that it's also pragmatic.
It is pragmatic, but it's also, in my view, illusory as opposed to real, because Meghan might be encouraging Harry to reconcile, but I actually do not think that she is ever going to allow a reconciliation. Let us just look at what has happened, because, of course, Sarah Nathan is going to say what Meghan wants everybody to say, to
Correct.
see.
Correct.
And Meghan is going to want people to think that she is supporting Harry, and Harry wants the reconciliation. And it's that mean and awful William and that ghastly Charles with Camilla who are preventing it. So who is going to be the bad guy? It's going to be the royals as opposed to Harry and Meghan. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I would not put it past her to actually encourage Harry to do this, because my understanding is that what Meghan has been doing is, on the one hand, saying to Harry, oh, yes, go on, let's go, let's try. And then she then says, whenever it looks as if things are going to succeed, and there will be the possibility of Harry bringing the children over, which she doesn't want to happen. And why am I plucking hairs out of my head? Anyway, she doesn't want it to happen. And there is, my understanding is that she's actually playing a very, shall we say, wily triple game, because she encourages Harry on the one hand to, oh yes, it would be better, knowing she can then capitalize upon that. Then when it looks as if things are going to succeed, she said, oh, well, and then she spins around and, but and she evidently lapses into the, I'm so vulnerable and I need to be protected by my big man who's my big alpha male, and you're a big alpha male, and I'm a little beta woman, and I'm Julia Roberts in the various movies, and you've just got so demure, and I need your protection, and I need to be kept safe. And the kids and I will never going to be safe in England, unless we have protection, and you've got to get the protection from the family, and if you don't, I just can't allow us to go, because you just never know what's going to happen. History's going to repeat itself, and I'm going to be wiped out. And she has been implying, I am told, in this game, that the royal family wiped out Diana. Which means Prince Philip wiped out Diana.
So she's adding to that paranoia that Harry has.
She's doing a Martin Bashir. in what I've been told, she's doing a Martin Bashir. She's pressing all his buttons, and she's making sure she gets what she wants, which is she gets the publicity that they want to reconcile. She gets the credit for being behind the desire to reconcile. She gets the condemnation of the royal family when the reconciliation doesn't take place. And she prevents the reconciliation just on the off chance that it could possibly take place. I need safe. I just need to be safe. Oh, H, and she curls up in a ball on the floor, and she's, I just don't know. Look at what I gave up for you. I was the biggest star in Hollywood, and look at this. I'm now a total no. I just can't take it. You've got to protect me.
Yeah, I was about to win my Oscar. So Lady C, is that the reason why Harry has so soon after this meeting with Charles, which, remember, he sort of reluctantly gave the audience, didn't he, to his youngest son, and obviously William was opposed to it. Is that the reason why so soon after that Harry's blowing the whole thing up and they're back at square one, because he's now written to the new Home Secretary in the United Kingdom, who's this terrible hard leftist woman called Shabana Mahmood, so she probably loves Harry, do you know what I mean, to say, you need to review my security again?
Well, my understanding is that Rachel Zane, who is one of the world's leading experts on constitutional and all other legal matters, is the one who gave the advice. And because and also you need to remember Rachel Meghan Markle and his two children need security. I mean, they just can't come to England without security, notwithstanding the fact, of course, that as soon as they land in England, they would have security, especially if they were staying in one of the royal residences, which they are offered uh, the ability to stay in. So none of it actually makes sense unless you begin to look at it from the point of view of a devious, manipulative, narcissistic person with antisocial tendencies. And unfortunately, I have sufficient experience of that from my life to know, once you've seen what people like that will do, there comes a point of a resonance when you are seeing variations on the same theme. And between what I suspect has been going on and what I have been told is going on, this is my conclusion. I think it's duper's delight. And I think she's not only duping the world, I think she's duping H as well. Oh, I just love you, H. Oh, get out of my way. What do you think you're doing? I can't stand the sight of you. You're not protecting me. I need protection.
Yep. Very, very dramatically performed. I love it, Lady C.
Well, I have to tell you, Dan, why I am evoking this is I've seen this sort of thing happening, and I understand that Meghan, rather like my mother, is a real drama queen, and that
Oh,
she will do
massively.
anything and say anything and to get her point across. And the man is bombarded with a fusillade of emotion and doesn't know whether he's coming or going. I mean, he should, because if you have any discernment, you should. But it's amazing how once people are trapped in that maelstrom, they lose powers of discernment. Befuddlement is one of the absolutely classical uh, features of reaction to narcissistic manipulation. And Thomas Markle, Sr. himself, has shown signs of utter befuddlement as a result of his interactions with his daughter. I mean, because I not only lived through this with my mother, but Erica Freeman encouraged me long before narcissism became the hot topic that it now is. She said, you need to write this book because she said, you will be able to make a genuine contribution to the subject, which hundreds, if not thousands of people have written to tell me that I have done. But I can now see, but part of why I actually see it so clearly as well, although I have to tell you, it takes time. The truth bell has to ring before you realize what's going on, even now. But she, because I know what has happened, it's there comes a point when I say, oh, is this really what's going on? Is what everybody's seeing? And then I ask questions, and in my opinion, that is what's going on. And Meghan plays games with everyone, including with Harry, and including at Harry's expense. And I have no doubt that his reaction in the in the Tribeca occasion was genuine, but I think she slammed his buttons before, so that because she knew she'd be able to have a dynamic going on that would create consternation, and sure enough, it did. And notice she was clever enough to photograph them behind the scenes and post that as well. So that is the counterpoint. It's people like that are extremely devious and manipulative, and not all of it is totally scripted. They they will wing some of it, but a lot of it is scripted. They know how to get people's goat.
Absolutely fascinating analysis, Lady C. Thank you so much. And if you want much, much more from Lady Colin Campbell and I, twice the length of what you've just said.
It was reported that Sir David Beckham had rounded off an emotional day by celebrating his knighthood at the Michelin-starred Chelsea restaurant owned by his close friend Gordon Ramsay. Observers noted that the former captain of the England national football team, who is now 50 years old, appeared deeply moved when he left Windsor Castle earlier in the day, but later his tears of joy were replaced with a radiant smile as he walked hand in hand with his wife, Lady Victoria Beckham. Those in attendance described how the football legend, often nicknamed Golden Balls, looked dapper in a classic black dinner suit reminiscent of something James Bond might wear, while fashion designer Victoria Beckham, aged 51, appeared elegant in a black dress paired with a cropped fur jacket and her trademark oversized sunglasses. The couple were joined by their closest family members for the celebratory meal. Their sons Cruz and Romeo, daughter Harper, and parents Ted and Sandra Beckham were all present. Chef Gordon Ramsay, aged 58, was seen leaving with his wife Tanner, aged 51, while David's longtime best friend Dave Gardner, aged 48, attended with his new partner Jessica Clark, who is 32 years old. One notable absence, however, was David's eldest son Brooklyn, aged 26, who currently lives in Los Angeles with his wife Nicola Peltz. Reports suggested that Brooklyn has not been on the best of terms with his family and did not publicly congratulate his father on the achievement of what has long been described as his lifelong dream. Earlier in the day, inside Windsor Castle, King Charles formally recognised David Beckham for his contributions to sport and charity. Those who witnessed the ceremony explained that the King had performed the traditional act of knighting, gently tapping Beckham on the shoulder with a ceremonial sword as the former footballer knelt before him. Following the event, Beckham reportedly shared that it had been an emotional experience. He told journalists that he felt honoured, but insisted that the new title would not change the dynamic within his family. He humorously remarked that while his loved ones could call him Sir Dad or Sir Son if they wished, it would take some time to grow accustomed to hearing such a formal address. During the investiture, an orchestral version of the song Golden from the popular streaming series K-pop Demon Hunters was played. Palace sources said the choice was a light-hearted reference to Beckham's long-standing nickname, given to him by his wife during her time with the Spice Girls. After the ceremony, Sir David Beckham reportedly sent a voice message to journalist Clemmy Moody, expressing how special the day had been for him and his family. He reflected that growing up in the East End of London, he had always dreamed of becoming a professional footballer, playing for Manchester United and representing his country. Everything that followed, he said, had been an extraordinary blessing. He added that having his parents, wife and children present made the occasion deeply emotional. The former footballer emphasised how surreal it felt to stand before His Majesty the King at Windsor Castle, receiving recognition not only for his sporting achievements, but also for his charitable work. Beckham went on to recall that his commitment to helping children dated back to his teenage years in Manchester, when he first visited young patients in hospitals as part of the club's outreach activities. He noted that this dedication had continued ever since, and would always remain part of his life, explaining that the safety and well-being of children was a cause that continually required attention. Sir David Beckham has served as a Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund for 25 years and has personally donated millions of pounds to humanitarian projects. In May of the same year, he organised a major fundraising event for the charity and expressed his intention to develop new initiatives to support children living in poverty. Despite an estimated joint fortune of approximately £500 million with Lady Victoria, Beckham has repeatedly stated that family remains more important than fame, wealth or awards. His record includes 115 appearances for his country, 19 major trophies, and the unforgettable World Cup qualifying goal against Greece. Observers noted that, beyond his achievements, Sir David Beckham continues to be one of the few individuals capable of combining athletic prestige, humanitarian dedication, and global celebrity status, even jokingly described as perhaps the only knight in history to have once appeared on a billboard wearing nothing but designer underpants. The day, it was said, ended with laughter, celebration, and a sense of pride shared among family and friends, a fitting tribute to a man who has spent his life uniting people through sport, charity, and style.